Hello, everybody. Welcome to our summer course of CHY 107. I am Professor Staples, and I will be leading you through this adventure and facilitating your learning in this course. Just a little bit about myself. I got my master's degree in chemistry, earned at Montana State. Loved my time out there. If you've never been out to Montana, I highly recommend the West in general. Beautiful country. After earning my master's, I came back to Maine. I born and raised in Maine, grew up here, grew up around Augusta. I came back to Maine and started teaching high school. Taught high school for about 10 years. Towards the tail end of that, started teaching here at USM, a little bit part-time, nights and in the summers. And then joined the full-time faculty about 5 years ago. Haven't looked back. Love it here. Absolutely love teaching at USM. You'll notice that when I introduced myself as the professor for this course, I did not say that I was your teacher. I did not say that I was your instructor. I said that I would be the facilitator of your learning. That's a teaching and learning philosophy that I really believe in, even if it's a regular class that's not in the summer, not asynchronous online, just regular day-to-day teaching. I really believe that the way to student success is for you to take ownership of your own learning, to no longer view me as the teacher and you as the student who was there to learn. Rather, it is your job to learn the material in this course, and it is my job to facilitate that. It seems like a subtle mind shift, and it sort of is, but it's really important, especially in a summer course like this that's asynchronous online. If you don't sort of take that ownership and really get that drive and initiative on your own, you're going to struggle. And so that's something to keep in mind from the beginning, is that I really do believe that is key to success in a class like this, is for you to have that mindset of it is your job to learn this material however you have to. It is my job to facilitate that and to provide you with the resources necessary to succeed, which does include some videos of me giving direct instruction, sort of traditionally teaching, so to speak. But that's just one of the resources that you're going to use. And that's a lot of what this course intro is all about, is introducing you to some of those resources that you have to help you to be successful in this class. Felt like there was something else I was going to say about that, but maybe not. Just any more about me. I live sort of in the area, live a little bit more rural, little 3-year-old toddler running around, who, if you've had kids, you understand, keeps us busy, keeps us real busy. We do a lot of gardening and things out at our country house. And he was out there with his mother just this morning, helping her plant some lettuce and harvest some rhubarb. So, okay. So anyway, back to the class. And so let's talk about some of those resources. Actually, before we do that, sorry. Another thing that I always like to talk about with this course, I've been teaching this course asynchronously online. I think this is my 3rd summer now. This is going to be a hard class. It just is. There's no getting around that. This is going to be difficult. Even in a sort of, quote, regular semester where you're here and you're live and you're learning, chemistry is hard. It just is. For a lot of people, it is some of the harder classes that they will take throughout their undergraduate career. And so not only do you have the challenge that is just chemistry, you have the challenge of taking it in a summer course. And so now we're taking a 14-week semester, get my hand on the screen, 14-week semester, and shrinking it down to 7. So you're trying to learn this material in half the time. Not only that, you're learning it in an asynchronous online format. Those things are not easy. It is going to be hard. It is going to require you to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort in order to succeed. I like to be very upfront about that. And so, for instance, if you enrolled in the course thinking, oh, I just need to bang this chemistry class out, I'm working full time, I'm doing this, I'm doing that all summer long, but I can just spend a little bit of time on this, an evening here or there, and I'll be fine. You probably won't. You need to be able to have a lot of time to devote to this class in order to do well. That's just the reality of it. And so I say that so that you think about whether taking this course in the summer is appropriate for you or not. It might not be. And there's no shame in that. That's absolutely not a reflection on you as a learner, as a person. It's just the reality of the time commitment of a class like this, taking it in the way that you are. And so keep that in mind. If you decide right now, after hearing that this might be a little bit more than you bargained for, so you're going to wait and take it with Professor Searles in the fall, absolutely fine. You may realize a week in that you wanted, that it's too much. Absolutely fine. Again, don't take that on as a reflection on you if that happens. It is a perfectly reasonable solution because this course will require a lot of time. So again, I'd like to be very upfront about that, because even though I'm always very upfront about it like this, I still always get on the course evaluations comments to the effect of, this was too much work for a summer course. It is a lot of work. And so again, just being very, very clear and upfront about that from the beginning. And so anyway, with that being said, let's talk about the class a little bit and talk about some of the resources that you're going to have in order to help you succeed. Probably the number one resource that you will use is our course website. Keep in mind, I don't use Brightspace for much. We will do a couple things on Brightspace, which we'll talk about in this video. But by and large, I don't use it for a lot, but you can do things like, for instance, the course website that I was just on. You can find a link to the course website right through Brightspace. I'd recommend that you just bookmark it right away so that you have it. And so here's our course website. Kind of serves as our central hub for the class. We'll talk about a lot of the different features of the website. Syllabus and schedule we'll hit on in just a second. I want to highlight these two tabs for you here, though. Learning Commons Strategies for Success, as well as some general study tips. These are just generally a couple of different pages that you can use and check out in order to adapt some of your learning strategies and in order to help you meeting with success in the course and learning strategies in order to do that. I highly recommend checking both of them out. I think that it will be time well spent when it comes to your success in the class. Another thing to point out here is I do have just this little web page. Excuse me. Just a guide to communicating with your professors. Sometimes that is helpful, especially those of you that are just starting out in your college careers. You don't necessarily know how to address people or how to write and format an email so that we'll see it and understand things. So just check that out. I recommend just looking at that. It'll help facilitate some of your communication with me and with other professors that you have down the line. Office hours, and so this is an asynchronous online course, but I am available by Zoom for office hours, and I would recommend that you take advantage of that. General availability is from 10 to 2 on both Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I make myself available during that time. I do have things set up, however, that you have to schedule that at least 2 hours in advance. Just gives me a chance and a way to prepare my day so that I can still actually plan some things and do some things like working out in the garden or perhaps picking up after that toddler. And so you do have to schedule that, like I said, at least 2 hours in advance. To schedule during those times from 10 to 2 on Tuesday or Wednesday, just click right here at office hour scheduling. And you can see, for instance, if you wanted to meet with me Wednesday the 24th, click on Wednesday, you want to meet at 11:30. There it is. You just click there and you'll put in all the details. It helps if you put in a couple things here. Things that you want to discuss, if there are particular topics you want to talk about. It might give me a chance just to pull some resources ahead of time. And then you'll have the Zoom link to our meeting, which will be there and also sent to you in an email after you book it. If those times don't work for you, you're always welcome to send me an email and just ask about setting up an alternate time. That's definitely okay. And so as we go through some of the required materials and so forth for the course, I'd recommend that you look through the website pretty thoroughly and you'll see a lot of this. But really the biggest resources that you're going to need, and I've sent a couple emails out about this already, is you will need access to the Achieve platform. And we will be talking about that a little bit more and the resources available there. But nearly all of your assessments, in fact, 90% of your grade, will be determined by the work that you do on that platform. Your homework, your quizzes, and your midterm and your final are all going to be found on that platform. It is an absolute requirement. The textbook is also available in digital form on that Achieve platform. And so a couple different ways that you can access Achieve and that you can purchase it. And I've discussed this by email, so I'm not going to spend much time talking about it here, but you can either go through the campus bookstore. And if you go through eCampus, then you will be able to purchase a digital code, which you can then use to access the course. You can also just go to the Achieve website itself. And so if you go to Achieve, you can simply purchase your access and you'll be all set to go. Once you have your access, you will use this code to enter our class. One thing to note is that if you do have to go through eCampus, if you go through the bookstore, last I heard, for some reason, it takes about 10 days to actually receive your digital code. Don't ask me why it takes over a week to receive a digital code. I have no idea. But there is a 2-week free trial period built into Achieve. And so you can always start that trial period and then enter your code later on when you do get that access. That is absolutely okay to do. That's one of the reasons that it's my recommendation, honestly, to just go straight through Achieve. I think that makes things a little bit easier. Go to the Achieve website, and you can see, for instance, instructions here, and it'll give you the website and so forth. But yeah, so if you can, I would just go right through Achieve and enter the code, and you'll be able to access the class. I also recommend the 2-week free trial in general. Like I said, it will not be uncommon for some of you to drop the course just because you find out what the workload really will be, and it won't work with your summer schedule. And that way, if you go up to the 2-week trial, you won't lose the money that you shell out for Achieve, because I'm pretty sure you can't get that back. And that's nothing that I can control. That's something on Achieve's end. And so just keep that in mind. The textbook, we'll see that when we go to the website. Let's take a look at the syllabus a little bit. You can see you can get a copy of the syllabus or a link to it right on that front page of the website. I'm just going to pop it out, make it a little bit bigger. My contact info here, same stuff that we've already talked about. Materials, your Achieve course code, this and that. We've already talked about a lot of that. I'm not going to talk much about the learning outcomes and so forth. I'd make sure that you read through those and you get an idea for the things that we will be covering. But then as far as your assessments, how will you be graded in the class? You're going to have a participation grade. We'll talk about those. That's one of the only other things that I do use Brightspace for is their discussion pages. And so that participation will be worth 10% of your grade. Talk more about that towards the end of this video. You will have a quiz every Wednesday of the summer session. The 2 exceptions to that are that their Memorial weekend, I do push everything back by 1 day. And so Memorial, the week after Memorial, your quiz will be on a Thursday. There's also no quiz the week after your midterm exam. Those quizzes will be over material from the prior week. And so if I look at a calendar real quick, let's see. And so, for instance, right now, so the first day of classes is going to be Monday, May 15th. And so you will have a quiz on Wednesday, May 24th. That is going to be over everything from the first week of classes, everything from the 15th to the 19th. When you take the quiz, so again, that quiz is on Wednesdays. That is the only day that you can take it. It is open for the full 24 hours, so I guess technically 23 hours and 58 minutes, because it opens up at 12:01 a.m. and it's available through 11:59 p.m. It must be completed by 11:59 p.m. Once you begin it, you will have 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete the quiz. That time begins once you actually start. And in fact, you'll see a little pop-up that'll say, when you click start, you'll see a pop-up on the screen that'll say, hey, you've got 1 hour and 15 minutes from right now. Are you sure? And so once you hit yes and begin, the clock starts rolling. You cannot stop and then come back or take that back. You can, but that clock is going to still keep rolling. And so make sure when you sit down to take those quizzes and the homework and the midterm and the final, which we'll talk about, but make sure when you sit down to take those that you can not only dedicate that time to be able to finish it, but that you also know that you'll have reliable internet access. That's the other thing to keep in mind is this is an online course. You must have reliable internet. It's just an absolute necessity. If you email me on some Thursday morning and say, Professor Staples, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I went to take the quiz at 9 last night. I didn't have internet. My computer died. My response is basically going to be sorry, but you're out of luck. It's an online course. It is your responsibility to be sure that you have reliable technology in order to access the course and in order to access some things when they do need to be accessed, like the quizzes. There are 5 quizzes total. The lowest one will be dropped. I get that it is summer. There'll be times maybe when you are somewhere on a Wednesday, you're in the middle of the woods and you just don't have access to internet. I get that. If that happens once, you'll be okay, because the lowest one will be dropped. Let's actually talk a little bit more about the midterm and the final. The midterm and the final, very, very similar to the quizzes. The difference is for the midterm and final, there's a 2-day window for each, and we'll look at the schedule in just a minute. But for each of those, there's a 2-day window for you to take it. Once you begin, you'll have 3 hours to complete them. I guess that's about it as far as those go. They're worth a huge chunk of your grade. The midterm and the final are worth collectively 50% of your grade for the course. And so those are big assessments. The other major portion of your grade is your homework, 20% of your grade for your homework assignments. And so homework is, again, through the Achieve platform. It is due every Monday by 11:59 p.m. Again, the one exception is that week after Memorial. I pushed the homework back to Tuesday for that week. Same as with quizzes, these due dates for homework will not be extended for any reason, including any last-minute technical issues. There are 5 homework assignments. The lowest one will be will be dropped. But so keep that in mind. Again, same thing. If I get an email Tuesday that says, Professor Staples, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I went to start my homework last night at 9 and my internet didn't work. That's going to be my response. And so, again, making sure that you have adequate technology and resources, but also with homework, start it early. Homework will be available 10 days before it is due. The exception being your first homework, because the class doesn't actually begin until the 15th, and the homework assignment is due the 22nd. But that homework 1 will be available, and we'll look at where you can find those in a minute. But that homework will be available right off just to begin with on the 15th. And so, okay, so those are all how you'll be assessed. I'm not going to read through this, general thoughts and prep. Make sure you read through these on your own and some of the course policies. Definitely just read through that syllabus information. Let's also check out the course schedule. So this will be another really important hub for you for the course. Again, just popping it out, making it a little bit bigger. And so we'll show you here what we will be covering every single week. So you'll see here this first week, the week of May 15th, we're covering all these different topics: matter and energy, atomic structure, compounds and molecules, molecular geometry, polarity, and intermolecular forces. You'll see the book chapter associated with each of those. You'll see these lecture videos, which we will talk about, and you'll see the assessments over here. Now, a couple things to note as far as the links on the schedule. One is that every one of these here, and so your matter and energy, click on this link, and it brings you to the appropriate topics details page on the website. And so matter, energy, and measurement. It brings you to a listing of the learning objectives. And so what are our goals and the things that I want you to learn from that particular category? And then under each one, what tasks do you need to do in order to succeed? And so, for instance, for objective 1, you should be reading section 1.1 in your textbook. That's the text section of your text that will deal with understanding the basics of matter and energy. You'll also have, under each one, you'll see this: upon successful completion, you should be able to, blah, blah, blah. That essentially serves as your study guide. I don't have separate study guides for the course, but this tells you what you should be able to do and understand as a result of working your way through that content. The other thing that you see on the schedule, or sorry, let me go back to that page real quick. And so you'll also see under each of these topic details, a materials page. That materials page has the different PowerPoint slides that I do use in my lecture videos, and we'll see those in just a second. But so that you've got the various PowerPoint slides there. There are also some supplemental videos that are shorter, more targeted videos that might help you with some of the topics that you're having trouble with. Like here's a video that's just about metric conversions. And that's really, I guess, all there is under topic 1, but then some other informational handouts, and then some additional practice problems. There are practice problems available in the Achieve platform as well, but here are some others for you. And so, okay, what else from the schedule? I think that might have been about, okay, the lecture videos. So you'll see from each of these as well, so matter, energy, and measurement. There are 4 different lecture videos that go along with that material. When you click on each of those, and so here, if we're clicking on, for instance, our significant figures. So that's going to bring you to a video. Just going to mute it here, but you can see it running there. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. There's me in a couple different places. But these are lecture videos that I made that are going over each of these different topics. And so another place you can find those is also on the course website under lecture videos. This course intro that I'm doing now will be right here when I'm done. Probably be a little bit longer than 38 minutes, I think. But then you'll see that, and we'll talk about this Achieve resources in just a minute too. But you'll see that each, or all the lecture videos are arranged by week. And so here in week 1, chapter 1, all the different lecture videos. These are all the same videos that are linked from the schedule. This is just another place where you can access those. Now, one thing to definitely note, remember when I said there was a big time commitment? Look here in week 1. If you add all of these up, so these are all of the lecture videos that go along with the week 1 material. Add all of those up for week 1, it adds up to about 4 hours, or a little over 4 hours of watching lecture videos. That probably feels like a lot, and it is a lot. But again, just think about our compressed time frame here. Is that every week in this summer course represents 2 weeks of a normal semester class. In those 2 weeks, you would have 2 lectures each week, depending on the course, but probably 2 lectures each week at a little over an hour, at an hour and 15 minutes. That's going to add, that adds up to, normally in a normal semester, this is material that you would be sitting in a lecture for 5.5 hours for. And so 4 hours of lecture video is still the same amount of time. And so keep that in mind, is that this is compressed. And not all of them will have, not all the weeks will have that much. I mean, if you look here at week 2, there's less as far as lecture videos, but you'll have more intense practice and work that you'll probably have to do as well. And so, okay, and so that's where you can find any of the lecture videos. The only other major thing on this page is to make sure you're on the schedule, is to make sure you're looking at the assessment dates. So for instance, homework 1, due Monday, May 22nd by 11:59. All of these links will take you directly to the Achieve platform as well, which we will be talking a little bit about. And so homework 2 and so forth, homework 3. And again, note your midterm exam and your final. And so the midterm is available on Thursday, June 8th to Friday, June 9th. It must be completed by Friday, June 9th by 11:59 p.m. That's when it will close. But it'll be available the full Thursday and Friday leading up to that. And again, you can do it at any time during that window. You just have to set aside a block of 3 hours in order to complete that. Same as the final exam. Final exam is due Friday, June 30th, and it will be available both that Thursday and Friday. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. I think that is about it as far as the schedule. One other thing that I did mean to mention about the lecture videos is, keep in mind, I did record these for the first summer that I taught this remotely, summer of 2021. I hope you don't mind that I'm not recording fresh videos every week for you. chemistry hasn't changed that much in these last couple of years. As far as I know, the way to identify how many protons are in an atom is still by looking up the atomic number on the periodic table. Carbon still has 6 protons. I can still find that by looking at the periodic table. Things like that haven't changed. How you name various compounds such as esters and ethers hasn't changed. And so I am using those same videos. Just keep in mind, though, that means things like certain dates aren't necessarily going to line up. Any dates that I mentioned specifically in those videos, those aren't going to line up with what you're doing. And so keep that in mind. What you can do, though, still is in some of those videos, I offer some extra credit opportunities for things like, I forget what some of them are. I think one of them, for instance, is emailing me with ideas for how to sign off at the end of a lecture. You can still absolutely send me any of those ideas, even though I'm not making new videos for this course in particular. I'm always making new videos for other classes and just working on things like that. And so I can still always use some of those various ideas. And so any of those extra credit little opportunities that I give out through those lectures, you can still absolutely email me those. And keep a close eye out, because once in a while, Rangeley the cat can make an appearance in some of those. So keep an eye out for him. All right. Just looking on my itinerary of what I want to talk about. I think that is about it as far as the website. I would highly encourage you in general to just really look through the website. We'll talk about these Brightspace discussions in a minute. Announcements, any emails that I send out to the class, you will be able to find on this announcements page here as well. And so you can go to that in order to find out, or to just so you don't have to dig through your emails. Any emails that I send out will be archived and found here. This assessment information page, some of the things that we've already talked about, things like your homework due dates are right here. And again, these are all things that we talked about, but those are your quiz dates and your midterm and final dates. I would make sure, as I said in an email or two already, but make sure that those dates are free for you and that you will be able to take those assessments on those days. You cannot take them another day. If you send me an email, Professor Staples, I'm going to be gone, so, somewhere on June 1st, I'm not going to be able to take the quiz on that day. What can we do? The answer is going to be the quiz is on that day. It's just not fair for other students and so forth to allow alternate dates on those. And so again, just that's the way this class is going to be set up. So make sure that that works for you before you decide to definitely continue on. So there's something to keep in mind there. All right, let's chat about the other major platform for this course, and that is the Achieve platform, which I know some of you have signed up for already. I've seen some of your names showing up. Your view will look a little bit different. I've got the instructor view here. Your view looks like this. The only difference in mine is that I see some of those hidden assignments that you're not able to see yet. And so things like homework 1, which will be available and visible starting Monday, that would show up here. But let's just take a look at some of the different aspects of this platform. So for one thing, you've got the full ebook. And so your full textbook available right here online. If you're the sort of person that really likes to have a hard cover of a book or just a physical copy, then you can absolutely purchase that. I think there are some available through Amazon, but I'm not positive. But if you just search for the ISBN of our book, so if you go down here, you should be able to find it in the syllabus. I thought so. I guess I don't have the ISBN, but if you just searched for this right here, Essentials of General Organic and Biochem, see what does pop up. I'm interested. Yeah, and you can find a bunch of them all around. And so various places you can rent some here and there, buy some used books. It looks like Amazon does have a hardcover for about $100 or $140. And so that's something that you can do, but you definitely don't have to, because you do have access to the full ebook right here on the Achieve platform. And so you can definitely, like I said, just use this in order to read the various sections of the book. And we'll see another way that you can access these, but this is just directly to the textbook itself. You just hit ebook and you can go right there. The other main page that you'll be accessing is this My Course page. And there's a couple different ways to view this. One of these is by course content. And you'll see how course content is broken up into, for instance, Welcome to Achieve, a couple different practice assignments here, an orientation assignment just to get you familiar with how Achieve will work, bit of a math review here, which may help some of you with some of your math skills. We're not going to do a ton of difficult math in here, but we are going to do some. And so this will help you out with some of your math skills if you want to go back and brush up on some things. And then you'll see, for instance, if we go into chapter 1, so you'll see all of this here. Now, it is important to note that when you go into this, when you go into these views right here, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and so forth, none of the assignments that you see in here, none of the things that you find in here are going to be assessed or graded. They are materials and resources for you to use to help master the content. And so this is the other way to access your textbook. And so if you're in chapter 1, reading chapter 1, click this and it will bring you to chapter 1 of your text. And so you can see that's where we are now, is here's chapter 1. And you would be able to read through and go through that. Answers to practice exercises. I recommend as you read that you do some of the practice problems that you'll encounter. So you'll see answers to those in there. And you'll also see just different animations and different videos to help you understand things. Here's a little animation looking at solids, liquids, and gases to help you visualize some of those things. Here is an interactive demonstration looking at density. And so you can play around with this a little bit in order to help reinforce some of those different concepts. Towards the end, you've got some practice problems. And then you have an adaptive quiz, so the practice problems are just static. There's just a bunch of different problems in there to help you with the material. And the quizzes, however, are adaptive, meaning that as you work on them, they will adapt, as the name implies, to things that you're getting wrong, things that you're getting right, and future problems will reflect what you need more work on. And so that's a great way to help you learn the material as well. Now, you're not able to see these two as of right now because the class hasn't started yet, and so these are not available. But as of Monday, you'll see homework 1 right here. You would be able to click on homework 1 right from there, and it would bring you to the assignment. For one thing, note 70 questions on this homework. That's a lot of work. That will require a lot of work in order to complete it. So you'll want to keep that in mind. Start early. Do not save your homework until starting at Monday nights at 8 o'clock. That will not work out well for you. So just keep that in mind. But again, you'll be able to see that when they are available. Homework 2 would be available, 10 days before it is due. So that you'll be able to see that on the 20th and so forth. And then you've got your quizzes. And so your Wednesday quizzes, again, you cannot see this in your view right now. But on that first quiz, and so your first quiz, again, being on May 24th, when you wake up on May 24th, whether maybe you're waking up at 12:02 a.m., this quiz would be available for you at that point. And so you would see it then. You cannot see it now, but you would see it at that point. And I can, even into the future, I can hear a couple of you chuckling about getting up at 12:02 a.m. Believe it or not, I've had some students in this course in the past with their work schedules. Depending on what time they have to be at work and what's going on, that's when they work on the course. They maybe have to be at work at 4 a.m. for something. And so they would sometimes get up at 1 and work on the course and go to work and do what they have to do. And so that's part of the reason that it's available for that full 24 hours is for you to be able to work that around your summer schedule. But again, so that's just one of the ways that we can use Achieve here, one of the ways that things are set up. I'm not going to go too much into the details of some of this setup because there is a course video. If you look in the lecture videos, this video here, Achieve Resources. It's not that long, about 14 minutes. And it goes into some of these other resources and the way things are set up a little bit. I'd recommend watching that because there's just a wealth of resources available here. And so watching that will just show you some of the other resources that are available on this Achieve platform. And so that's one of the views. And you'll see that this view has all been, so again, it's under my course. course content, shows you all of the different content of the course and the homeworks and the quizzes. And then when we get to that point, your midterm exam would be displayed there and your final exam. Again, keep in mind, you cannot see these yet. I can see them with my instructor view. You cannot see them. What you see, again, is still this, because those assignments are not available yet, except for the practice final exam. The other view that you have from my course here, return to instructor view, is you can go, you've got resource type. I wouldn't really recommend going to there. That's not going to help you much. But if you go to assignments, again, you see nothing is there yet, because nothing is visible to you at this point. But you will see, again, starting Monday, you will see the homework there. Tuesday or that following Wednesday, sorry, the 24th, when the quiz is available, you'll see that here. And so you can just go directly to your homework and your quizzes as long as they are available. You will see them on this assignments tab. Personally, I recommend sort of sticking with this course content tab because it is sort of set up and arranged in such a way that it's easy to follow. Here's all of our material for the first week right here. This is all the different stuff for that first week. And then after that first week, your homework and your quiz. That might be about it that I wanted to say about Achieve. You will also be able to see, you can use the gradebook on Achieve. I wouldn't really recommend it that much. So I'll show you in Brightspace where I will be doing some grade reporting there as well. And so I think that just leaves us with Brightspace now. And so that is the other thing that I do use Brightspace for. So if you come to our Brightspace page for the course, you'll see links to the course website and the syllabus and the schedule. So you can get those there, and a link to Achieve you'll find right there. The other main thing that I do use it for, and a couple of you have already started using this, and I love that. But if you go to assessments, if you didn't see where I went, it was under assessments, discussions, brings us to our discussion page for the course. Now, one of the things I think that we lose out on in a summer course, I love being able to teach this course asynchronously online in the summer because I think it offers you the flexibility to be able to live your life a little bit in the summer too. Honestly, that's why I do it this way. It gives me flexibility in my life. I'm in the office right now on campus recording this, but pretty much I'm not going to come to campus again all summer. I'm going to be working from my basement. Excuse me for a minute. And so teaching it asynchronously online gives me that flexibility too. And so it's one of the great things about teaching the course the way that I do in the summer. We do lose out on that sort of classroom community, though. There is a community when you come together in a classroom and learn with your fellow students. And we miss out on that. And one of the things that can lead to is a feeling of isolation amongst students, a feeling of, oh my God, I'm the only one struggling. I'm the only one going through this. This is awful. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you, and you are not alone. Everyone else is going to be going through the same things that you are. And so that's one of the reasons that I use this discussion page, is just to bring us together a little bit as a learning community for this class. And so you'll see several different discussion forums here. One is for general questions, and you'll see that a student has already posted a question in there, wondering about homework. Hopefully, Jeffrey, you're both with my response here as well as what we've seen in this video, your question has been answered. But this was the perfect avenue for Jeffrey to post that question, because I guarantee that other people have been wondering the same thing. And now, rather than sending me an email and asking and just having it be a one-on-one conversation between Jeffrey and I, now everyone has the advantage of seeing that answer. And so that's one of the big advantages to this Brightspace platform, is it just opens up these sorts of discussions so that everybody can see it. And so I definitely recommend and in fact ask that if you have general questions about the class and some of these other areas and forum topics that we'll talk about, but if you have these general questions about the course, things like homework and sort of what's going on with some things, post them here so that everybody has the advantage of seeing those responses, rather than emailing me individually. There are certainly some things that it's appropriate for you to email me individually about, and I think you can judge for yourselves what those are. But if it's just a general course question that other people might be wondering, post it here so that everybody can see that. And so the other thing that you'll see, so we've got our whole course is really divided up into two main sections. In the first half of the course, we're going to be talking about more sort of general chemistry. The second half of the course is more organic and biochemistry. So that's our midterm break right there. Midterm will cover everything up until that point. We'll cover the first 3 weeks of the course. Be aware that the final exam does cover the entire course. And so just keep that in mind as you're working through the semester. But if you have a question, for instance, later on about atomic structure, and so, and I'll just show you an example here, but you start getting through that and you're really wondering and you're saying to yourself, oh, trying to get this whole idea of isotopes. If that word is a completely new word for you, don't worry about that. That is something that you will be learning, just using it as an example. But if you sort of get through some of that material and you're saying to yourself, I think I kind of get this isotope thing, but still a little unsure as to how I can find the number of neutrons in an atom and what that really means. Ask that question here. So start a new thread. Maybe a title is isotopes. And your question is, how do I find the number of neutrons? Spelling neutrons is hard. How do I find the number of neutrons in a particular isotope? And then you're just going to post it. And so now that question, your question that you asked, is going to be showing up right here under atomic structure, isotopes. Now, the other advantage, besides everybody being able to see the discussion, the other big advantage is that your fellow classmates, your fellow students in the course can answer these threads as well and can post to these. I try to be as responsive as I can, both to emails and to these Brightspace discussion threads, but I'm not always going to be able to answer it right away. One of your fellow students sees this and they say, oh, I know how to do that. You use the mass number and you subtract the number of protons. They can post that answer here and you're going to have the advantage of seeing a little bit sooner. Now, be aware and know that I do monitor these. And so if you're one of your fellow classmates gives an incorrect response to something, I will definitely correct that and make sure that everybody has the right information. But this is an opportunity for your fellow students and classmates to help you out by answering some of these questions as well. You'll also see homework help. And so this is where for you to ask any homework related questions. This is not a place for you to give answers. If I start seeing that, I will shut it down as soon as humanly possible. And so you wouldn't want to ask something like, what's the answer to number 4? No one's going to, that's just not a fair thing to do. You need to do the homework on your own. However, if you say to yourself, geez, I'm really having trouble with question 23 in homework 5. I think that I'm supposed to use this particular equation, but I'm not real sure. Can anyone help me out with that? And then somebody else might respond something to the effect of, well, if you look at all the information that you have, just making things up here, but you've got pressure, you've got volume, you have the number of moles, you should be able to use the ideal gas law in order to find temperature. Boom. There's some assistance. There's some helping you out with something that you're struggling with. And again, I will be monitoring that and I will be trying to answer that as well. But it's a place for you to ask some of those general questions about your homework. And then down at the bottom here, just chemistry in the news. Find some cool stuff, find a cool link, throw it in there. Let us read it. Let us check it out. Jokes and memes. Make me laugh. I dare you. I dare you to come up with a chemistry joke or a chemistry meme that I have not seen. It's going to be tough. I've seen a lot. I've been doing this a long time. See what you can do. I challenge you to do that. And this is just a way for us to have a little bit of fun. And so as far as these discussions, as far as your grade is concerned, again, if we look at the syllabus, so these discussions are worth 10% of your grade. And the expectation is, so again, if we keep in mind those two sort of halves of the class, the first three to 4 weeks up until the midterm, and the last 3 to 4 weeks after the midterm, in each of those periods, you're expected 10 contributions. A contribution can be starting your own thread, can be responding to someone else. But as long as you have 10 of those, again, for each for each half of the course, so to speak, 10 of those before the midterm, an additional 10 after the midterm, that averages to about 3 to 4 per week. Not a big ask there. And the more that you do that, the more you are just going to be engaged with the course and engaged with each other, engaged with your fellow classmates. And I think it'll just be a more rewarding experience in general for you. And you can certainly have more than 10. I've had a lot of students in the past have just tons and tons and tons in there because they have a lot of questions or they're able to give a lot of answers, and that's phenomenal. That's great. And so try to pace yourselves though. Try to get those 3 to 4 per week. Rather than trying to go in maybe the night before the midterm and throw 10 jokes in there. Technically, as far as a grade, yes, that's going to count. I'm going to give you your 10% if you throw 10 jokes in there the night before it's due. Okay, that's going to count. But if you use this more as a way, like I said, to engage with me and to engage with the course, it is going to help you. I guarantee that. And so keep that in mind. That's really one of the big purposes, is to get that community going in there. Okay, I think that's about it. That's pretty close anyway. And so that's been a lot. There's a lot thrown at you here. So let's just rehash a little bit. Some things to keep in mind is that when it comes to your grade in the class, you will be assessed on only your homeworks, which you can find here in Achieve, the quizzes, and your midterm and your final, and then those discussions as well. And so that's how you're going to be graded, is based on those. I've shown you a ton of different resources that you can use in order to master the material so that you do well on those assessments. Does that mean that you have to use every single one of those resources? Not necessarily. It's up to you to figure out what you need to use in order to be successful in the course. For some of you, and this might vary, and so take this with a grain of salt because everyone will be different. Some of you are absolutely going to need to fully read the textbook, to watch every single lecture video and watch some of the supplemental videos, and that's going to be your time commitment to succeed. Some of you may find, for whatever reason, that the textbook really isn't doing it for you, but you're getting everything you need from my lecture videos. Okay, awesome. Some of you may find the opposite, that reading the textbook really gets everything that you need, and you don't really need to watch the videos that much. That's okay too. It's not necessarily my recommendation. Doing both is definitely my recommendation. But the point is that what I've supplied for you, what I've given you here, are, again, all of the different resources that I think you will need in order to be successful for the course. It is up to you to then figure out how you're going to utilize those and what you are going to do in order to meet with that success, in order to meet with whatever your target is for the class. I think that really is about it. So I hope that answers most of your questions about how the class is going to proceed. I will always send an email out every Monday as well, just as a sort of a check-in and what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be going over that week, giving you some information. So that'll be coming out every Monday. You'll get the first one on Monday the 15th, with things like a link to this course video, which I'll send out actually today on Friday as well. But I'll be sending out that email every Monday, just sort of setting us up for the week. I think what I'll leave you with is, don't hesitate to reach out early and often. Send me an email. I do try to be very responsive to emails and get back to you as soon as I can. And so with that in mind, sometimes because half the time I'm just answering an email from my phone, and I want to do that very quickly in a way that I can just get it out to you as soon as I can. So some of my emails tend to sometimes be a little bit short and abrupt. Don't take that personally. It's not me being rude or me trying to brush you off. It's me just trying to get the information out there to you as soon as I can, and as quickly as I can, rather than crafting this big long response. So just keep that in mind. But email me early, email me often. If things come up, let me know what's going on. It's the only way that I'm going to be able to help you. And that's just one of the biggest keys, a key to success in a class like this, as well as just communication. And so just keep me abreast of things, let me know what's going on. With that, I hope you all enjoy the weekend. This weather's been phenomenal. Great way to kick off our summer. And I will be in touch on Monday. Thanks, everybody.